Hello, Raveis Nation. I'm so pleased to have Fred Bin with us today, and we're going to give you some advantages on your listing presentations. And in this climate of low inventory, we have some solutions for you. So, without further ado, Fred Bin, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Chris. It's so nice to be here.
Thanks. So, let's just start off with just a little bit of background about yourself and how you started this great concept.
Sure. So my background is as an attorney, originally in the multifamily housing space, and I started this concept, which has morphed into Raveis Purchase about 6 years ago. And the genesis behind the business was how do we help homeowners alleviate a lot of the pain points that surround selling your home? So whether that's preparing it for sale, like Raveis Refresh, or being able to buy before you sell and avoid the hassle of the traditional home sale process. And today it's a program that operates nationally and throughout the entire Ravis footprint.
So let me just get into it then. Why would somebody choose to use Raveis Purchase versus just a traditional sale when things seem to be selling pretty quickly?
Absolutely. So for a lot of sellers, there's very little doubt that if they list their home on the market at a market price, if they prepare it for sale, they list it with a Ravis agent, that it will sell quickly. The issue is that for most folks, they're concerned that if they do sell their home quickly, where are they going to go? How are they going to find their next home? They don't want to be proverbially homeless. And the Ravis Purchase Program allows sellers to become non-contingent buyers and helps Ravis agents win more listings by overcoming those objections. And as a second point, which is almost equally important, is if you've ever had a seller that maybe they've got kids or dogs, or maybe their home needs a little bit of TLC and they just don't want to live through the hassle of a traditional home sale process, that's where Ravis Purchase shines. It makes selling your home a breeze.
So tell us about how the program's structured. So we present this to a homeowner
Mhm.
and just the nuts and bolts of the structure, how it works, what's charged, and then we'll get into how to present this as an advantage.
Sure. So at a really high level, Ravis Purchase acts as a principal, and we purchase a seller's property, allowing the seller to unlock the majority of their equity and pay off their existing mortgage so they can become a non-contingent buyer. Then we take care of renovating their home and listing their home with their preferred Ravis agent. And when the home sells, the seller keeps the full market value of the home, whatever it ultimately sells for. Now it's structured as two transactions. So in the first transaction, Ravis Purchase buys the home from the client. We get an appraisal. The client gets up to 75% of their home's appraised as is value. So out of those proceeds, their mortgage is paid off and the majority of their equity is unlocked. They go out, they move to their next home. Hopefully they're buying it with a Ravis agent. Then we come in, we renovate their home if it needs anything. The seller approves any work that's done. Their Ravis agent lists their home just as you would a traditional listing. And when it sells, the seller gets a second check, basically the difference between what they got up front. And back in napkin math, the seller's getting about 90% of the after repair value of the home. So after staging, after painting, after flooring, whatever needs to be done, they're getting about 90% of the after repair value of the home. And on average, 90% of the after repair value of the home is a heck of a lot more than 100% of the as is value of the home.
And that
So
also
on
includes commissions too that are paid to the agent.
correct.
And it's a full commission. There's nothing to do with the commissions being discounted.
Nope, no discounts, nothing's taken out of the agent's commission. It's as if it was a traditional listing.
That's good. We like that. Full commissions are always great. So with that, what happens if the appraisal comes in low?
So the seller retains the right to cancel for any reason or no reason. If they don't like what the home appraises for and they want more, they can cancel. The appraisal is manifestly wrong, they can contest it just as they would when they're getting a mortgage. But it's totally up to the seller. There's no obligation.
And do you have to do the refresh or the money into the home in order to use the program, or could they just purchase it as is if they wanted to?
So there's no obligation to do cosmetic voluntary improvements. Now, if the home has deferred maintenance, like for instance, the roof is past its useful life and it will impede the ability of the home to be sold, or there's foundation issues that'll prevent you as an agent from selling it, then we do require that those issues are fixed. Then anything that's voluntary, like cosmetic improvements, are totally up to the seller.
So who owns the house when
So
purchased?
Raveis Purchase takes title. We buy the property. It's a bona fide sale. There's a closing. The seller's mortgages, if any, and any liens are paid off, and the seller gets a check.
So if you were positioning this as a Raveis agent, it's exclusive to our company. So this is for all the Raveis Nation agents out there. This is a tremendous advantage to go into a listing presentation when you're competing against other companies that may have similar services or marketing programs, but this is truly unique. So if you were a Raveis agent going in against your top two competitors, how would you present this program to win?
So first off, every listing appointment I would go to, I would take with me a full market value cash offer from Raveis Purchase. And I would offer it to the seller saying, before we've even listed your home for sale, we've already committed to purchase your property. We have a way for you to unlock the majority of your equity in 10 to 15 days and avoid the hassle of a traditional home sale process. Now, yes, there are fees, but if your home needs any TLC or any kind of work, you'll typically net more than you would in a traditional sale. And if nothing else, that'll help you as an agent differentiate yourself from other agents the seller might be interviewing. And if the seller doesn't take the offer, it's no sweat off your back. The seller's going to list the home on the open market. But I can assure you that if you walk into a client's living room, already present them a cash offer with proof of funds, it's a lot more convincing than just talking about marketing techniques or your sale history. It's real and something the seller can use tangibly. Secondarily, I would think about using the Raveis Purchase program as you're talking to sellers that may have objections. Like I imagine this happens pretty frequently. You talk to a seller that says, I'd love to sell my home, but if I sell it, I know it's going to sell quickly and I don't want to be a contingent buyer and I don't want to be homeless. Well, now you have a tool that helps you overcome those seller objections.
Are there any properties that don't qualify for this program?
Yeah, so our buy box is pretty wide. It's about 200,000 to 4 million. There are a few types of properties that don't qualify, and those are typically commercial properties or properties that have environmental issues. Also properties where it's just vacant land. But we'll buy mobile homes, we'll buy townhomes, we'll buy condos, we'll buy single family homes. It's about as expansive as you can imagine.
So what are some of the objections that a homeowner may have when presented with this?
So one of the objections is that, I just want you to buy my home and sell it for full market value, and I want one check. And that's great. Then let's list your home on the open market and sell it to an ultimate buyer, and I'm sure it'll sell quickly. Now, most homeowners that use the Raveis Purchase program, they're trying to overcome one of the pain points that occurs in selling your home. So they're trying to buy before you sell. They're trying to avoid living through showings and home prep, or they have a home that needs some TLC and they just don't want to live through it. Um, but mathematically, typically the Raveis Purchase program for a homeowner that values being able to buy before they sell and is wants to avoid the hassle of a traditional sale process, mathematically their net proceeds are greater than or equal to a traditional sale.
So have you ever used, and what comes to mind for me is more of like a reconciliation type of spreadsheet to show an agent can show the as is value. They show the cost of improvements, maybe it's $50,000, and what those cost of improvements could do to actually add to market value. Do you have any of those sheets that you've used with agents, or it would seem to me that would make a lot of sense to a homeowner?
Yeah, so we have a whole team of account executives at Raveis Purchase that are happy to put together sample net sheets for you and your client. And if you want to have a seller talk to our team and walk through the program, we can do that together. But we absolutely net it out. So what would it look like if you sold your home as is, net of closing costs, net of commissions? What does it look like if you're selling your home with the Raveis Purchase program, net of all fees, carrying costs, et cetera? And we can give them an apples to apples comparison. And for the most part, if the client is buying another home, and if they want to be a non-contingent buyer, the program pays for itself, and they typically net more than they would in a traditional sale.
And now, how are the fees structured? Obviously, you are taking a fee in order to implement this program. So how does that work?
Yeah. So we earn a fee as a percentage of the resale value of the home, much like an agent would earn a commission. The fee is comprised, it depends on how long we own the home. So whether we own it for a week or a month or a year. And number two, how much of the initial equity we advance to the seller. So a good rule of thumb is the more proceeds we gave to the seller up front, and the longer they decided to live in the home, and the longer it took to sell, the higher the fee is. Conversely, if they move out quickly and they don't need maximum proceeds, the fee is a lot lower. But the seller controls a lot of that process. They control what work we do, they control what we list the home for, they control how we respond to offers. So the seller's in the driver's seat and they control exactly how much this program costs.
So when it comes to those decisions, uh, who is involved with those negotiations? Is it the agents who's responsible, or how are you involved in any way that way?
So our team interfaces with the agent as well as the original seller. And the seller retains the right to decline offers, typically within the first 30 days on market. And then if we don't have any offers, we have the right, but not the obligation to reduce the price programmatically. And typically it's 2% each 30 days. But this is entirely negotiable and it really varies depending on where the property is located. If the home is at a higher price point in an area that takes longer to sell, those timelines will be elongated. If it's in an area where homes sell really quickly, they may even be shortened. But what's important is it's a structure that's designed upfront to ensure that the listing sells in a reasonable days on market and gets the agent paid.
Okay, so if I'm an agent and I want to start this process, where do I go? What do I fill out? Who do I talk to?
So we have an entire team at raveispurchase.com who's available during all business hours, including weekends, to assist agents. We can do a Zoom call with your client, walk them through the program. So you can go to raveispurchase.com. Alternatively, we man a call center, and that's available at 203-350-6911. And we're available to help anytime.
And then how would you use this in prospecting? Somebody who's maybe not looking to list or sell, but what would be a good way? Because part of the issue right now is there's a lot of people that are locked into a 2.5% rate. They're not really looking to sell. And our agents are out there calling these folks and trying to give them some reasons why it makes sense to sell right now. So how would you use this program in that kind of a situation?
So we've seen a few different techniques that are effective at prospecting. Number one are targeting expired listings. So if you can go to an expired listing and tell the homeowner, well, here we have a cash offer for you that can close in 10 to 15 days, and you can unlock the majority of your equity then and avoid the hassle of a traditional sale process, it usually goes quite a long way because those are sellers that obviously expressed an interest in selling. Now, for some folks that aren't selling today, you're absolutely right. They're stuck with their 2.5, 3% mortgage. They don't really want to move. But at some point in time, they're going to have to move, whether it's relocation, they need a bigger place. And there comes in some of the bigger pain points that sellers experience. So today, with limited inventory, you don't want to be a contingent buyer. I was talking to a Raveis agent yesterday. He has a client that made an offer on a property. He's got a $45,000 non-refundable deposit, and he can't get his home sold. So this is the kind of stuff that people do and the exposure that they take on when they don't want to be contingent in a market with this type of inventory. The Raveis Purchase program solves that. It allows a seller to go out, take their time, be a non-contingent buyer, and when they find their next home, move. And if they don't find their next home, they get to stay exactly where they are. There's no cost, there's no obligation. It facilitates more transactions.
It's a great talking piece for sure. Even if they choose not to use it, they know that agent contacting them has something unique and different with William Raveis. So perhaps it leads to more referrals.
100%. And that's the key. We want to differentiate agents. and make it obvious to sellers the kind of value that William Raveis agents bring to the table.
And then how does this integrate with William Raveis Mortgage?
So we have a complete integration with William Raveis Mortgage. On the purchase side, the client has a seamless process of getting pre-qualified so they can make the strongest offer possible in their next purchase. And secondarily, when we're listing and selling properties, we have a seamless integration for buyers to get cross-qualified and ensure that they're able to close with very competitive rates and terms.
Is there anything else that I missed, Fred, that you were wanting to mention on this call?
No, I think we covered everything. I would like to reiterate that, on a go-forward basis, unit volumes are down, inventory's down, and it's easy to get into a rabbit hole. Just a lot of sellers don't want to sell. They're not giving up their low rate mortgage. But the fact of the matter is, a lot of sellers are going to sell. And if you, as an agent, can differentiate yourself and demonstrate to a client the kind of value that you bring to the table and show them that you are going to alleviate the pain points that they're going to experience when selling their home, you have a much higher likelihood of winning that listing. And we look forward to being a part of your agent's success.
Absolutely. And just for everybody to know that there are marketing materials around this too. So if you go to Deluxe, you will see some marketing postcards and materials about Raveis Purchase as a way to develop some leads. I did speak to our CMO, Lisa Carpenter, recently as well, and they're creating more too. So we feel like this is a tremendous advantage in this market. We jumped on a call today with Fred himself to describe it. And I would just encourage everybody out there to talk to your manager, set up seminars or workshops that help you really refine your sales pitch around this, and then work with them also to implement your strategy around prospecting. Direct mail can't be beat in this market. In my mind, it's the best investment. So I just want to thank you, Fred, for coming on the call today. And hopefully everybody got a lot out of this. And if there's any questions, please feel free to email me or Fred himself as well. And we're here to help. We want to win listings. That's the name of the game in this market. So again, thank you, Fred, for joining us.
Thank you, Chris.